Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello there, and welcome to Sith Happens, a Star Wars podcast. I am Eric the Dadalorian, and want to thank you guys for joining us today on a very, very special episode. Firstly, I want to welcome my co-host, who has more toys than the Target aisle. It's my boy, Matty Ice.
You also can't buy me right now because you got to wait till my pre-order comes in, even though I'm in the store. Hi, I'm Matty Ice, otherwise known as Black Series Daily Desk. Very, very, very excited to be on this special episode.
Yes, absolutely. Particularly because Matt and I are joined by a very, very special guest. We've been looking forward to this episode for some time now and are pumped to introduce an individual who is more famous for their work under the helmet, so to say. He has been in shows such as The Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please join me in welcoming Ardeshir Radpour to the show, everybody. So,
Hey guys,
how you doing, Ardeshir?
I'm very good. How are you guys?
Excellent, man. Excellent. Firstly, let me just say, Ardeshir, thank you so much for coming on the show. So we can learn a little bit about your journey in a galaxy far, far away, because I'm sure you got quite the tale to tell.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm honored to be here. To be honest with you, the honor and pleasure is mine. So let me just say that first. And yeah, there's quite a tale to tell.
Yes, because you've been involved with Star Wars for quite some time. I'm taking it, given all the memorabilia behind you there.
Yeah. They're all
good.
over the,
Yeah, man. So, well, honestly, man. So, I wanted to just dive right into it quick because honestly, Matt and I kind of came up with a bunch of questions, as well as some of the stuff from our viewers and our listeners on YouTube and Instagram. So we really want to just learn about you and your time in a galaxy far, far away. So, now, firstly, how long have you actually been involved with the film industry?
So indirectly, since about I want to say mid 90s, okay, but not really seriously. So I graduated from USC, and then I started playing polo professionally. And every once in a while, we would get a little call like, "Hey, we need some young guys for like a Ralph Lauren commercial that can play polo." You know, okay, so we'd go do it. Or, "Hey, we have to train these actors to ride and look like they can play polo." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'd go do that, but I never took it seriously, right? I had a company. I had one of the first tech companies in LA, and I was playing polo and doing my thing, riding the horse during the USC football games. I was like, cool, I'm doing my thing. You get on set and you're like, wow, this is really fun. You get your paycheck and you go home.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's not that big of a deal. And then as it kind of got into the 2000s, I was like, okay, here and there, another little commercial here, another little commercial there. But then, I would watch stuff like Lord of the Rings. I'm like, oh crap, man, I got to get on that. And then you find out, you're like, okay, I got, Ardeshir armor, horses. How do I get on Lord of the Rings? But that's the question. That's really the $100 million question everybody asks.
Yeah.
I never took it seriously. 2008, when the economy collapsed, I got called to work on a show called Deadliest Warrior. So I would go there and I would work on Deadliest Warrior. That was fun, a lot of fun.
That's a good show. I actually loved that one.
Is that the one? That was the one where like they would talk about the two different factions and at the end they would fight.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
I watched every episode of that show while I was at work. I don't work there anymore. They can't fire me. But I literally, I would, on Fridays, we were not busy. It was like summer Fridays, and I would just click into streaming was new. Yeah. I love that show. Wow, you got us more geeking out.
I'm all over. You can't tell a lot of times because they had to disguise me. I was one of the experts, but then I was all over it, man. And so what happened is they said, hey, why don't you stay, weapons and stuff. Why don't you help us train some of these guys and go through what some of these, weapons would be worth and so forth. I said, okay. The show's a scripted show, so you know what's going on. A lot of times I would tell them, hey, guys, this weapon wouldn't be used this way. And they're like, well, yeah, that's the way we have to use it on the show. And I'm like, okay. But this is not the way we would use it. This is not how it would happen. Anyways, long story short, that show came to an end, and the company, my company, we were folding it, and I said, you know what, man, if I'm gonna make a jump into this career, then now's the time to do it. So in 2008, I decided to go full time, And so I went into it, and of course I'm like, okay, I got 2 bachelor's degrees, I got a master's degree, I had a tech company, I play polo professionally. What the hell did I just do? I'm like, oh my God, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, doing background work and then doing some tech work here and there with people. I'm like, how am I going to evolve out of this? Now, mind
Yeah.
you, some of the people I played polo with were big industry guys, like
Yeah.
studio owners and producers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we
Oh,
can help.
wow.
I said, no, you can't do that because it'll look like it's a political hire. And I
Yeah.
don't like that. And I want to be someplace where I'm wanted to be. So if they ask me to come on, for example, Avatar, I need to know that I belong there. Not like, oh crap, we got to work around this guy, that type of a thing.
Yeah.
So as that happened, slowly I started to progress and move forward. And I was training with some military guys. I have a lot of friends that were military, so I was getting a lot of, military grade training. I'll just leave it at that. Of course, there was all those stupid skills that I had as a kid, using, weapons that, we don't use today other than in just sport, archery, lance, that kind of stuff. That's stuff I was practicing since early 90s.
Wow.
All of a sudden, hey, holy crap, they're worth something. So like, hey man, we need some guys that can actually do some lance work on horses or mounted archery, or they can do some medieval style combat fighting or ancient style combat fighting, Persians, Macedonians, or say French and English type of. So that kind of started pushing me a little bit more forward, and then slowly the breaks started to come. Working on TV shows, the military advisors or the stunts would say, hey, why don't we upgrade him up and get him up here? So I would get up there and drive a car in, or get shot and get killed or whatever, and then you get on things slowly like American Sniper, and then SEAL Team and NCISLA, and then slowly you just work your way up. Batman versus Superman, Avatar, and then of course, one of my biggest passions, of course, is Star Wars, and then Star Wars kicks in, and Star Wars for me, and I mean this respectfully, for a lot of guys it's a job. When you're working in this business, there's a lot of money on the line. And for a lot of guys, it's a job. For me, it's a job and a love. Like I would not leave set if they said, hey, you can just stay here. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that ended up being a different evolution. Avatar was one for me, and Star Wars was another one. They're just weird parallel universes. If I can add Alien in there, I can add Dune in there, and I can add Lord of the Rings in there. There we go.
You got a shot.
Added everything that I loved in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're writing Dune 3, man. You got to hop on that.
Well, I almost went on Dune 2. So,
oh, really? That's
nice.
really cool.
So it hopefully Dune 3, I'll be able to get on it. Again, it's knowing and understanding that world. Knowing and understanding what Dune is, what Arrakis is, what Spice is. Same thing with Star Wars. What really is the Force? What are the stormtroopers? What's the Empire? How do these move this way?
Yeah.
It's that world. And Avatar was interesting because that was one I had to learn. You had to learn how to walk like them, chant like them, rehearse like them. I was training them on archery, but they were training me on everything else.
That's so cool.
It's crazy. You just immerse yourself, and you work with talented stunt people like Alicia. They're not even human beings, man. They're aliens. They just came from another planet. They're so at what they do. It's like a Michael Jordan. Alicia is just incredible to watch. Same with Zoe Saldana. And then the guys like Steve Brown and Spider and all these guys, the stunt guys that were on there, Josh, Chris, incredible guys. I mean, guys that are 10, 11, 13-minute breath holds. Give me a break.
That's wild.
That
is freaking wild.
Exactly.
You and I had a really good conversation before this. And I think, believe it or not, you just answered like our first 3 questions. And I have to say, talking to you before this has been nothing but an absolute pleasure. And I may ask you to repeat some of what you and I talked about. I think you and I were joking it's amateur hour to think that we would only talk for 4 hours, you and I, what we're doing. But I think this was a question that was coming a little bit later, but I think it plays very well into what you and I were talking about. And I'd love to hear a little bit more from you. Well, first and foremost, you talked a lot about what Star Wars means to you, to me, and, culturally, religiously. So I'd love to hear you tell that story to our listeners. But then afterwards, I want to understand what your first day on set, I think it was Book of Boba Fett, right? Yeah. In costume. You're walking on set. You're in the full regalia. What does that feel like? What does that do to you? What is that emotion? So I'll let you take it from there. But it was just, we had a great talk about that. It's something like I'm going to tell my wife when she wakes up tomorrow. So I'm sure we'll watch this. But lay it on us. I think, just understanding that, your background with it and then what it meant to you.
Yeah.
And again, then like what that feeling was that first day.
Okay, so let me start off what Star Wars actually means to me. Okay, so I'm not a religious person, but I'm very well versed in all the major religions. Okay, very very well versed. But I was born Zoroastrian, and it's a very forward thinking, very classical tradition. It was the first monotheistic religion in the world. That kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Don't want to get into that. But one of the tenets in the Zoroastrians are the Magi and the Zoroastrian way, and we say there's a good mind and there's an angry mind. And the angry mind is what the dark side of the force comes from. The good mind is where you find peace. And so we always say that if you want to get to heaven, you have to make heaven on earth in order to get to heaven. But you don't have to die to go to hell. You can make hell on earth for yourself. You can see this straight out in Star Wars. And those Zoroastrian priests are called Magi. We all know the Magi, the gift of the Magi, and so forth. They weren't the three kings. They weren't the three wise men. They were Magi. There were three Zoroastrian priests that went. And Magi are so wise that the stuff that they knew and were able to do, they said were Magic. Hence the word magic.
Okay.
And same thing with King Ardeshir and the story of King Ardeshir and Merlin the magician. King Ardeshir is where the story of King Arthur comes from. And the closest advisors to the Persian kings were the Magi. Hence Merlin the magician. Arthur, sounding like Ardeshir, he built a round city instead of a round table. There's a whole lot that is very similar to that. And that the Arthurian legend goes to England because the Sarmatian knights that the Romans took up there. Sarmatians were Iranian tribes. So
Okay.
there's no way around that. So they take him up there in the legend of Arthur or Artur or, the way they would say it back in that day, Artaxshatra or Artach would be translated that way. Okay.
Wow.
So now you fast forward to little stupid Ardeshir. He's visiting America in 1977. I'd come quite a bit, but I was just here on vacation and the revolution happened. So my dad said, "Hey, hang on a second. There's an uprising. Let me go see what's going on. You guys stay here." My dad goes back to Iran and goes, "Oh crap, they just declared martial law. Check him into school." So I'm staying here. Okay. It's just my, right. So
Damn.
United States. My cousin says, "Hey, I'm going to take him to a movie. What do I go see in 1977? Star Wars." And you're like, oh my God, what is this? Today, people don't understand it, but back then, when we watched that in the screen, and that big ship flew over, and we're like, "What is this?" I mean, it was when they busted the door open on the Tantive and the stormtroopers came, like, wow, your whole world changes. So as a kid, I always remember my dad telling me these Zoroastrian tenets of like, there's a dark side, there's a light side. You don't really get into that until Empire and Return of the Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine as that's coming about, you start watching this, you're like, oh my God, holy crap. He's literally talking about the stuff that I grew up with. These are the tenets of how I was raised. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. You have to work hard. You have to educate yourself. You have to take care of people that are around you, but you will be judged by those people that are around you. You don't have to die to go, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is all this stuff that I'm seeing in this. I'm going to throw in something else for you guys. Another one that hit me really hard was when I watched Dune. I'm like, oh my God, this is the same thing. What's the emperor? The emperor is called the Padishah emperor. That's literally the Persian word for king of kings.
Wow.
And what does he tell his son? He goes, without change, something sleeps within us. It's a tenet of Zoroastrian. Without change, something sleeps within us. So the sleeper must awaken. My dad used to always tell me, don't let anything sleep in you. Always awaken it. Always awaken it. Laziness makes things sleep. Without change, something. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. So, of course, that movie was, very instrumental in things that I loved, and then of course, Excalibur and Conan the Barbarian and Dragon Slayer and, Predator and, of course, the Alien series. Like, oh, that's awesome. But Star Wars always stayed there. And if anybody's old enough to remember, when you saw Star Wars, that was it. Maybe a really
100%.
That was it. There was no until VHS came out.
Yeah.
And there's a group of people out there I know that will have watched that VHS until they couldn't watch it anymore. It was like,
I burned through 2 tapes, believe it or not, when I was a kid. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So then remember, right around 1990, I don't remember the exact time, my buddy comes and goes, I got that laser disc of Star Wars. And I'm like, and so we were watching Star Wars, but there really kind of wasn't much Star Wars around. And then we had stuff like the movie channel, Showtime. I remember one month the movie channel showed Star Wars every other movie. So it was some movie, Star Wars, some movie, Star Wars, some movie, Star Wars. And I remember my mom saying, "How many times can you watch this movie?" I would literally just be playing and just watching Star Wars and then some crap. Can't even tell you what the movie was. And then some other thing. Can't tell you what the movie was. Star Wars and so Star Wars always stayed there, right? And then remember when that little short came out called Troopers?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
young when that came out.
We were like, "Oh, how did these guys do this?"
Yeah,
We were looking for that as much as we could.
yeah,
Star Wars stayed a huge part of my life, right? A huge part
Yeah.
of my life because culturally and so forth. Now we're going to fast forward, whichever way you're looking on screen. Let's say this is
Yeah.
it makes sense on my screen, so you're good. Yeah,
then Mandalorian comes out. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
this is either going to screw things up or it's going to be really good. And when they released that first image of him, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be great. This looks like King Arthur in his armor. This is Star Wars. He's walking like a badass. He looks great. I'm like, this better be good, man. It's just keep my faith, because I liked, what was going on with the prequels and all that other stuff. I liked it. I liked all of it.
yeah.
So then Mandalorian comes in, of course. We're like, oh my god, man, look at the Garandian, and they've got all these things. They really paid tribute to everything. And I said, oh my god, man, you got George Lucas to thank, and you've got Favreau and Filoni to thank. Holy crap!
In Filoni, we trust, man. That's our and Favreau as well.
You guys are just killing this. So I loved it, and I said, this is awesome. And then I'm like, man, this has to happen.
Yeah.
And I've literally been in a situation in my life where when I said I'm going to get into USC, everybody's like, good luck, I got into USC. I'm going to play polo on their team. I played polo on the team. I was sitting in the Coliseum. I'm like, one day I'm going to ride that horse. Became the best to ride that horse.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to play polo professionally. Everybody's like, you're out of your mind. Everybody says that. I ended up doing it. I literally willed this into existence. I said,
yeah, it's amazing.
This is going to have to happen. And then I got the call. They said, hi, may I speak with Ardeshir Radpour? I'm like, yeah, this is Ardeshir. But I forget the person's name. Hey, this is so-and-so from Lucasfilm. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. This is, so-and-so from Lucasfilm. I'm like, who is this? Who's screwing me up? I had a lot of comedians in my life. Like, no, this is so-and-so from Lucasfilm. I'm like, you're not joking? They're like, no. They're like, your name was put in by the coordinator, who I'm indebted to for the rest of my life. I said, wow, you're serious? And I said, yeah. They're like, we want to check your availability. I go, I'm available. There's no
yeah, right. Whatever I'm doing, it's up. You need me now, today?
Yeah.
So they sent me over the NDAs and so forth, and I they said, hey, we're gonna you have to sign all this stuff, and then you're gonna send you the script, basically. And I had to log into this thing that's more Star Wars
Oh wow, yeah.
than the actual movie. You log in and you're like, oh my god. I mean, I came from tech. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at this going, oh my god, this thing is more Star Wars than the damn movie. So
Did you have to pull up one lever to open it, and somehow that did everything? They sent you like a box with a thing.
Yeah. What was really crazy is the opposite scary one was the Avatar NDA. I just signed a screen. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I just signed away.
All of a sudden, your room just starts turning into another planet.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. So they send me the stuff, and of course I redact stuff and don't make it possible. And I looked at my buddy and I said, you got to help me do the read on this. And he's like, okay. Yeah. So we did the read on it. Of course, I have to make it to where he doesn't know what the hell's going on at all.
Yeah.
And so we did the read, and they called me back and they said, you're done. You're booked. I said, wow. They're like, you're going to come in. And I said, holy shit. I said, this is insane. I'm about to go. So of course, first day I get to Manhattan Beach Studios. They take me, they introduce me to everybody, and like, hey, this is he and I are phenomenal friends now. They're like, this is Jamie. He's going to be your makeup guy. And so we went in and like, hey, before we start anything, do you want to see all the creatures? I'm like,
why did they even ask? Like, just come see the creatures.
Yeah, it's not even like, hey, just follow me.
Yeah. I walk in and like, they're like, do you want to sit on the speeder bikes? I'm like, I sat on the speeder bikes. I sat in Slave One's cockpit. Oh my God, man. I'm just like looking at things and I'm like, are you kidding me? And there was this giant canopy that was covered, and you just saw these what look like truss that are just sticking out the back end, and there's this huge canopy. I go, what's in there? And they're like, go take a look. And I go take a look, and I'm like, you're kidding me. It's the damn Rancor. I'm like,
Wow.
Oh.
Knowing that was more practical is insane, by the way, to know that you could see it. Yeah.
And you have to understand, the NDAs you sign don't mean anything, because they do mean something, but to me, my own personal NDA to Lucasfilm is more bonding and more binding than anything they could have me sign. I'm so devoted to that IP. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking at it. It's like, hey, where's Ardeshir? It's like, oh, he's in the tent. They open up the tent. Like, you have your head in its mouth? I'm like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't I?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Sir, are you crying? Like,
And there's a funny story about that too. So I walk in, and they show me all the creatures, and I'm literally looking at everything you saw in Jabba the Hutt's palace in the cantina. I'm just like looking at it.
Oh, nice.
You're just looking at everything. Trandoshans, Aqualish, you're looking at all of them. You're like, wow. Rhodians, you're like, everything. There's just so many I can't even begin to tell you. And they're just making them and making them and making them. And also I look over there, and I'm like, you're kidding me. And I saw Ahsoka's, what are they called? The
Togruta headpiece.
Yeah, I see that, and I'm like,
her Lectu, right? Her Lectu. There we go.
And I'm looking at that going, oh my God, nobody even knows what's going to be going on. So anyways, in there, and they sit me down, they mold my teeth, they make me dentures, put those in there, and then because it changes your mouth, it pushes it out, and they cast my whole head and everything up to here. Just a big giant plaster cast, pulled it out, and then they made a mold of me, and then they made the stuff, the Klatooinian stuff. Now the crazy thing about this is, I'm friends with Dickie Beer, who played a Klatooinian on Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Wow.
He played Barada, and I couldn't even tell him.
Yeah.
So I'm playing this Klatooinian, and I know it's going to be upgraded from. I saw the masks, the prosthetics I wore is way different. The masks look damn real, but once you start moving in the prosthetics, it's insane. So I had that. So I come back in for a test. They did a makeup test. Then I came back in for a full wardrobe and makeup test.
Mm-hmm.
This is my second first day on set. And they said, all right, we're going to take you over to see Favreau. I said, wow, this is...
Okay.
So, that's the other first day, right? So I walk in, and now I'm on set. And they're very secretly walking me around. And everyone is looking, going, oh my God. Because he's fully functional.
Yeah.
I mean, I can walk and move, do everything. And they're like, oh my God. And I'd been practicing at that point for about 2 months how to speak with the teeth. And if I speak like this, you can see my mouth, right? So if I'm speaking, but if I put the teeth in and the makeup on and I speak like this, it looks like I'm doing this.
Wow.
You speak like this so that you see me speaking like this. That's how much
crazy.
That's gotta be wild.
And I'm looking at filming going on, and there's shooting sequences going on, and they're like, Favreau's going to come take a look at you. He comes around, he's looking, he's like, wow, that looks really good. And Jamie tells me, he goes, they haven't really liked, too many of the prosthetics that, as much as we'd like them to. He goes, so that's a huge thumbs up for you. He's looking, he goes, wow, this is incredible. He's like, move your mouth so I can see it moving. I said, and he goes, all right. He goes, I'm going to video you, and I'm going to send it to Filoni. So I'm going to go around you, I'm going to video you, and then I'm going to zoom into you and just move your teeth. I was like, well, I got to sell this.
Yeah. This is make or break now.
Yeah, as he's filming me, and he comes around to this side and he zooms in, I go, hello, Filoni. I like that. He sends it to Filoni, and Filoni goes, oh, I love it. So I got the approval. So then we go through all that. I show up for the first day of shooting, and it's in Jabba the Hutt's palace. And unlike that's open with a rooftop, this is a closed rooftop set. And I'm walking in. There's the wind chimes. There's the cubby holes. There's where Jabba was. And then there's Boba Fett's throne. And you're just looking at everything. You're like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. I walk into the soundstage, and everybody was almost at attention, just trying to get a look at me because that just the way that it looked, and they're like, "Oh my god, you could get this close to my face and you could not tell it was makeup." That's how good these guys were.
That's insane.
There's photos of me. You can zoom in and you will not see anything that does not look organic. That's how good they were. 3 hours of makeup. That's why it's so good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's an experience. So go on, Eric.
An hour and 40 minutes of just airbrushing to make it look perfect.
I believe that.
Good, right?
Worth it.
So I get on set and I'm looking around and they're like, "Oh, we're going to show you where you're sitting." And I come in and there's a big table there. And at the head of the table, what does it say? All of the Klatooinian had code names. Aqualish and Trandoshan, they all had code. The Klatooinian's code name was King.
Oh my god, you're just bringing it kind of full circle in there. Like, yeah.
And I'm like, nobody here knows what this goes back to. So we started shooting our sequences and it went really well. And then Kevin, phenomenal guy, Robert Rodriguez was there. Kevin was the director. Robert was overseeing it. Favreau, Filoni were there, and he comes up and goes, "Hey, come here, man. I got to talk to you." I said, "I'm fired. I know he's going to fire me." He's looking at me like, you suck. We're going to shoot behind you. Tomorrow we're going to get somebody else in makeup and they're going to do the face and you're going to, sorry, man. This is what I thought I was going to hear.
Yeah.
I knew I was doing a good job, but you never know if they're seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mora liked it because he said it right after the first take, but he takes me up and he sits me in the throne. I go, wow, that's this is where they're going to push me off. That's what
it is down there, right? So like you saw it.
You know what scene you're in? I said, yeah. And he goes, you know where you're at? This is Jabba. I said, yep. He goes, this is going to be one of the most iconic scenes. He goes, you've been killing it, man. He goes, are you good for the rest of the day? And another day. I said, oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, right.
It's only my dream.
Yeah. As I'm walking up, Ming Na Wei, she says, hey, he goes, you've been really prepping for this for a long time, huh? Because he had to give us 2 months to practice. And Right then, Favreau and Filoni were walking up and with Tamora, and she goes, "You've been prepping for this for a long time." I said, "Since 1977."
Got him.
That was awesome. That was done. Then I got my second script, and I'm looking at it going, I don't know who the hell I'm fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. So I'm reading it. I'm prepping for it. I go in, and we do another makeup test because it's the same guy, but different teeth and things like that.
Yeah.
Different wardrobe. The lady looks at me and she goes, how are you going to play this? I said, well, the way he's dressed, I kind of read him as the butcher from the Gangs of New York. She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, look at the board. That's who we designed him after. So I was like, oh my God. So that was Shauna Tripsik, She said, that's the butcher right there. That's Daniel Day-Lewis. I said, she goes, how'd you know that? I go, it's just the way that I read the script. So, of course, then I go in for rehearsals. And I see Lateef walking in. I'm like, oh my. I said, how? And I had some choice words. I said, it's going to be Mando. And I said, holy cow. And I can't say anything. I can't say anything about the show, let alone as you're watching it, telling anybody that, holy crap, it's going to be the Mandalorian. So, we ended up doing that, just bonding really well, Lateef and Brendan and I, never knew Lateef did, but Brendan never saw me without it. It's really, really funny. And we do those scenes with Bryce Dallas Howard, who's incredible to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After 3/4 of the day, she goes, hey, Ardeshir. She goes, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to do? I go, well, there was kind of something, but we're past it. She goes, what? I said, when he says I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold, immediately my guy attacks him. But if my guy didn't attack him, I would have said, I decide what's warm or cold. She goes, oh my God, we should have done that. I go, we're way past it. I was not about to tell a director and an actress that I respect immensely with this.
Yeah.
For leaving, I of course I thank Filoni and Favreau, and he drew that tattoo that's on his head. And I go, thanks for my Star Wars logo. So I had that. And then we went to do the ADR sessions, and they're like, have you seen your scenes? I said, no, we need to play them for you. You're going to love them. So we did the ADR sessions for that. And of course, most people don't understand this, but as I'm doing my ADR sessions, Bryce is giving me, and same with Favreau, they're giving me phenomenal acting direction from themselves, Tom Hanks, these other actors that they've worked with. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just learned more in 10 minutes from
That's
you
insane.
guys than you could learn in a lifetime of an acting class.
That's
So
insane.
that was that, moment of finishing that. While we were doing that, they were getting Obi-Wan going. And nobody knew what the hell was going on with Obi-Wan. So I was like willing that one into existence. And I'm just not getting calls. We got your stuff. And then finally one day I put my phone on my chest and I just looked at the ceiling. I said, you got this. And I swear to God on my life on this. I put my phone down on my chest. I was just telling my girlfriend about this. I said, I'm just going to relax. I put my phone down on my chest, and 15 to 30 minutes later, I don't remember, something makes me think it was about 15 minutes later, no more than 30. Phone was on the chest, it buzzed, and I looked at this and I said, hey, Ardeshir, are you available for a fitting? And I'm like, who is
you got some real magic going on there, man.
I was gonna say,
script, and I read the script, and I'm looking at it going, the only thing this can be is Mos Eisley. It's not Mos Eisley, but in my mind, I'm like, it's Mos Eisley. How long have you had these droids? It's the same thing. You're stopping somebody, you're interrogating them. I'm like, holy crap, it's Obi-Wan. It's Obi-Wan. So fast forward to, when I went to get my fitting and everything like that. And I get to set, and my buddies are calling me, they're messaging me, hey man, we're doing a May the 4th thing. I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm busy. It was May the 4th that I shot that checkpoint scene with Ewan McGregor.
oh my God.
Oh, no kidding.
I am a killer May the 4th party and you win.
I am doing the ultimate May the 4th thing here. Dressed as a stormtrooper about to confront Obi-Wan. And
That's
from then
insane.
I picked up, for a lot of the other stuff that went on in the show. But that's there's no way for me to tell you one day. That's all of that is my first day on set. All of it.
Yeah, and can we just talk about how you got your head cut off by the Mandalorian based on that story? Like, I was like, I'm going to hold that comment because everything's brilliant. But if I don't, I'd be remiss to not talk about that.
Funny about that. I was like, so are they going to make a dummy head of me? Like, where's the dummy head? In the bag. And can I keep the damn thing?
Can I keep it?
And then they stuffed the bag just full of nothing,
I kind of figured.
I said, I'm glad
keep
I
the bag
that year, because they would say, well, it's the same thing as if you had the real head in there.
I was like, could you keep the bag? Like what's the
yeah, like, hey, can you keep that? Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's amazing. Honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat here listening to this as you're walking us through this. It's insane.
I'm sitting across this table from Boba Fett. Okay, not even Tamora. It's Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look across and go, that's Tamora. I'm like, that's Boba Fett. And he needs to answer to me, not the other way around. He's been gone. He's been swimming around in Sarlacc doing whatever the hell he's been doing. This is our town now. He needs to answer to me, right? This is how I'm thinking as an actor.
Yeah.
As a fan, I'm not even seeing Tamora. As a fan, I'm going, that's Boba Fett. This is it's alive. And they were very happy with how I looked on camera. There was a lot of shots that didn't make it, a lot of close-ups and stuff. And the guy said, hey, do you want to see what you look like? And I looked at it, and I was like, oh my God, it was phenomenal looking. And I turned the monitor away, and he goes, oh, you don't want to watch it? I go, I will start crying.
That was what I said. Yeah, that is the man.
We're in the makeup, guys.
I told Jamie, I said, Jamie, there might be moments here where he goes, nah, your makeup's waterproof, because I got you. Don't worry about it.
Were you just like in your head going, he's just a simple man making his way through the galaxy. He's just a simple man making his way through the galaxy.
Yeah. And then he was a simple man that spoke to everybody. I'm like, he's not so simple in my mind. It's interesting because there's an aspect of Tamora and Ming-Na Wen and all them that you meet. They're human beings.
Yeah.
And if you can respect them as human beings, you understand how phenomenally human beings they are, how talented they are, how phenomenal they're human beings. And once you realize that a human being is just like you and I, but they can do something that phenomenal, is what you can really respect them more. If you put them up on a pedestal, you don't give them really much to climb, right?
Yeah.
Like me, and then I go, wow, they've been able to attain this. That's phenomenal. It gives me always room to grow and room to grow and room to grow as well. So just having that, it gives you chills,
Yeah, I mean, I got the chills from your story. I don't.
Seriously, I'm like on the edge of my seat here listening to this. Like I was living it. It felt like, honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring, man. Just thinking about it. And it's funny because your connection to Star Wars. I watched Star Wars, and I can tell you, 1987. I was 4 years old. My dad did not want to watch GI Joe again, and he went, "Want to see something cool?"
Yeah.
And that's what made me. He showed me. I watched it all in one day, and there was nothing available until the early 90s when Power of the Force became a thing, and Dark Empire comics. And just hearing your story, it means so much to me because there are so many people that were waiting for that content, that were waiting for this to come back, and to know just the connection we all share as fans.
Yeah.
And even you've done these amazing things, but to know that I think that's one of the things we try to promote with the show is this community and these people that love Star Wars. So tremendous stuff.
I'll give you guys something that'll give you chills. If it doesn't, somebody denerved you guys when you because I went through it and it gave me chills. You get on set and you go, "Oh my God, that's Ewan McGregor." You're like, "Oh, that's incredible." And then you realize it's not Ewan McGregor. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know Ewan McGregor. I know Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor is the person that's out there. All day long, I'm speaking with, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who every once in a while, Obi-Wan Kenobi would bust out a character and let me see Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That type of thing. Yeah. Ewan is such a phenomenally kind person. So all day long, we were working with some stuff, and we were just having some fun. And there were a couple of things that happened. I don't know if you guys remember, but somebody leaked that saying that they said when Ewan saw Vader, he said, "I know."
Yes.
There was only about 4 of us standing there. We were all talking with him, and he goes, "Oh shit!" He goes, "I almost shit myself." I go, "We're like,
that's real."
And I said, "What's the big deal?" Like, I mean, Vader's a big deal to me.
Yeah,
he's a friend of mine from other stuff. And he goes, "I've never seen Darth Vader." And
it's true.
Go,
oh,
exactly. See the you just said. I go, "Oh my God, you're right." So he walked up to Tom in the Vader outfit and was walking around him. And, he's towering over him.
Yeah.
Walking around him, looking at him in the same amazed look on his face that was on my face, that was on your face, that was on everybody. He's just like, "Oh my God." Now this happened again. So after that first day, when I did the stuff with the checkpoint, Deborah Chow came up to him. She goes, "Hey, I heard you're 501st as well." And I said, "Yeah, I am." She goes, "Keep it quiet. But if we can get it correctly, and if you can help me, I'd like to bring 501st again." She goes, "But I need to make sure we get good guys. We get guys that know their stuff." I said, "No problem. I'll get you." And she goes, "And get me a good, good solid group of guys in good armor and make it as diverse a group as you can. So everybody gets an equal opportunity." I said, "That's awesome." So when I put the list together for her, she goes, "Hey, how's it coming along?" I go, "I got you white guys, I got you black guys, I got Jews, Christians, atheists, I got you gay, straight, I got you military, I go Asian, I got you everything you possibly can imagine." Yeah. And I submitted that list to them, and then of course LFL did their thing. Yeah, and then the approval, was put through to some of the guys, and so when we brought all the 501st members out there, everything else was either studio background actors or stunts. I was part of stunts and cast when I was doing the acting stuff.
Okay.
And the 501st came on deck. It was really interesting because they had me run a lot of the stormtrooper stuff after that first day because they're like, "Hey, he knows the behavior of the stormtrooper. It's just not holding a blaster. They hold it left-handed versus right-handed. They can fight right-handed and left-handed. Yeah. But when there's presentation, it's left-handed. With Vader around, it's left-handed, not right-handed, all this stuff." A lot of the guys didn't know this stuff. So when the 501st finally came on deck, Ewan was amazed. He had the same look on his face when he was in the look at all. He's just looking at the stormtroopers. I go, "Pretty cool, huh, Ewan?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Why don't you come say hello?" He goes, You think they would like that?" I go, "Ewan, are you kidding me? They're gonna." Yeah, right. I walked him out there and I said, "501st, say hello to everyone," without missing a beat. They all went. He loved that. They loved that. He said his thank yous to them, and we commenced shooting that thing. over all of this, I'm going to add something at the end, just so you guys get a full feel. Then there was this thing going around on stage. I said, hey guys, I'm just going to tell you guys this right now. I don't care who I have to kill, torture, slaughter. I don't care what it is. I will be there for Order 66. And they're like, yeah.
And you got the picture behind you.
Yeah.
Come in. I'm like, guys, I need to be there on Order 60. Like, Ardeshir, you'll be there on Order 66. It got to the point where Monday would come in, about 5 people go, you're there for Order 66. So Order 66 comes, and I'd met Hayden just briefly prior to that. Like he walked through when the 501st was there, he's like, my people, and everybody's like, well, but when we got to do the Order 66, Hayden was interesting because he came out as Hayden, but he looked like it. And I mean, he was just built and tall, and you look at him and go, oh fuck, that's Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker here. He's in Vader mode.
Yeah.
And he looked the way he did, and I said, oh my God, that's insane, man. I'm like, look at that. And he came in and he was so mild. He's such a calm, demeanored person. So when you watch those fight sequences, you have to understand he's going way to the other side to be that character, which is what's beautiful about what he's able to do, right? So he comes in, he's really nice. We're having a great conversation, and he goes, "Oh, this is incredible." He goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm looking at the clones live." I said, "We can't believe it."
Us either, man.
They were all CGI. There was no actors there. There's nothing. It was all CGI.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Right. So guys, and of course, we're in that outfit and everything like that. And I said, hey, Hayden. I go, hey, I said, hey, Hayden. He goes, what's that? I go, let's finish this time, huh? And he goes, right on. So he walks through us, high fives everybody, turns around, walks back and stands to the front, turns around and looks and goes, we finished this. And I go,
I'm following you now.
You did so good.
Rewind this and just tell you guys, those sequences when we're marching with the Purge Trooper or with Reva through the corridors, when we're on the street, when Vader first comes in and chokes everybody out trying to bait Obi-Wan. The whole attack on Jabim, exactly the same as what I'm about to tell you with the Jedi Temple. When we began the filming sequences, they played the soundtrack loud.
Oh, nice.
We are getting ready to fight. You're hearing Anakin's Temple March.
I was just going to say,
I would be ready to march through a brick freaking wall, man.
You get chills.
Yeah.
You get goosebumps, and you're like, oh my God. And you're in this clone outfit, and these little 8-year-old kids, cute as hell. They're walking around. They're fully in it. They're fully in character mode. And, you're coming in and you see, Ming-Q come through. She's doing the Jedi. So, you're shooting. You're killing guys. You're like, oh, and they're playing this Temple March. Or when we're marching with...
That's so freaking cool.
They played the Imperial March, but then they also played the Imperial Techno version march when we were running through the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
It was really funny. We were having so much fun on set. There was never a day that I was not almost the first person, if not the first person every day on set. And I remember Jojo and Deborah were talking and like, hey, are we ready to go? And Jojo's like, I don't know if we're ready to go. He's ready to go.
You're in your armor, just standing there.
Ardeshir's been here for 4 hours, guys.
And the joke was, I don't know if we push a button and he jumps up out of the floor or they lower him to the ceiling. So, but that's how much I loved that job that I was in. And same thing, when JJ gave me that, JJ Dashnaw gave me the opportunity on Book of Boba Fett. He actually gave me a second audition that I would have had as the pirate in Mando season 3.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Marty got. And I met Marty and I said, Marty, I go, if I was going to lose that part, I couldn't have lost it to a better person.
Did a great job.
You killed it, Marty. And I love Marty. What a great human being. So I said, my God, man, if I was going to lose, I lost to Jesse Owens there, buddy. I go, awesome. He's a phenomenal talent. So JJ, when he gave me that opportunity, he gave me a job.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to give him everything back. So for 2
Yeah.
months, I religiously put the teeth in my mouth and practice every day. Put the teeth in my mouth, practice every day. Go over my lines. I never screwed up one line. Never, not one
That's
word.
awesome.
That's
Because
impressive.
that's the dedication that I wanted to give to him for that opportunity. So if ever JJ hears this or JoJo hears this, I'm like, you guys are my heroes. And of course, there's something else. I can't say anything, but Skeleton Crew. I couldn't even tell you guys what I wanted. But there's another coordinator that I'm indebted to. When it comes to the
Well, we'll tell you what. When that episode airs, I will beg you to come back, sir. And we'll
Yes.
do this. Always happy
Yes.
to talk to you, and you have the time.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, and that was actually going to be another one of our questions we were going to ask. Is just like, can you give any insight on upcoming projects, maybe appearing somewhere else?
So there's a bunch of TV stuff like Lioness and Criminal Minds and a movie called The
I love
Prince.
Lioness. I'm sorry, that's a great show.
Too. Yeah, Night Agent. I'll be a Night Agent and all that stuff. Skeleton Crew. Let me just put it to you this way. And I'm not even joking about this. First of all, if I knew anything, I would just tell you guys I know and I can't tell you.
Yeah.
You guys actually probably know more about Skeleton Crew than I do
I
because
don't think anybody knows anything about it. I know
don't know
Jude Law's in
anything
it.
about it.
You're the second piece of information. I know Jude Law's in it. And I know you're in it. That's what I got.
Yeah, it's so under wraps. From what we shot, it looks phenomenal. So I can't wait for that. But I couldn't tell you a word even if I wanted to.
Yeah, I read a thing about it that they said it feels like a John Watts film, did like the Spider-Man movies. And I just, even if you don't know, I think it's very interesting knowing the little bit we know that like more as a co-fan, less asking a question. I think that got me really excited because I love the way you and I were talking a little bit about knowing, knowing the universe, knowing all of that, but then bringing these sensibilities. So it's a Star Wars story. I'm very curious to see, what this looks like if they're going to take it in that type of trajectory. If the idea there is, for sure. I'm excited about that. Can't wait to see you on screen.
I couldn't tell you. Well, I couldn't tell you. I'm just telling you. All I know is it was badass.
That's no doubt there. No doubt there. There's no bad Star Wars. And honestly, I think everybody is really looking forward to start finding out more about this upcoming series, especially because we're going into the hiatus, as I call it, where we got no real new releases coming out for the foreseeable future. So definitely.
Well, there's Skeleton Crew, there's Andor. So I'm pretty excited about those.
I'm very excited,
Yes.
Mando movie, they're going to be shooting. So it's going to be pretty exciting, for that. Who knows where they're going to go afterwards and what they're going to do, with regards to that. But the experiences I had, sitting inside of a Slave One, an X-Wing, a TIE Fighter on the speeder bikes, just touching everything. Like, it was at one point they were bringing, Mando's cart. There's a cart and all the weapons and stuff are on there. Like, hey, you want to touch something? I went, I'm like,
it's like my 2-year-old just touching everything, basically.
What's crazy is I made the challenge coins for the stunt team for Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so, we gifted those out to the stunt performers and then other members that stunts deemed, but for the 501st, I made their exact same coin, except it said 501st team instead of stunt team.
Nice. Oh, okay.
So it was really crazy because I said, oh, hey, John, I haven't seen you in a while. And I forgot, I wanted to give this to you in person. And I handed him the Book of Boba Fett coin. And he gave me the Favreau producer's coin. I was like,
so you have that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So then it was really funny too because when I coined Latif and Brendan as well, and then Latif gave me his Mando coin with the
that is
pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I have a coin from Avatar as well, so it's pretty. I have some pretty special coins there. It's pretty neat. But that's
awesome.
Emperor coin now and Latif's coin. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? I'm like, how am I going to explain to that 7-8-year-old, that 10-year-old Ardeshir, you're going to sit inside of it? You're actually going to be a stormtrooper. I had 50 of them. The little figures. You go to Thrifty and get a 15-cent ice cream and buy a $2. I had 50 of them. My mom was like, how many of these do you want? I'm like, have you watched the movie? No. It's crazy. And, the other thing is it's not and I say this as respectfully as I possibly can, but a lot of people aren't aware of there's tiers in the film industry. In our world, as fans, there's no tiers. It's
Yeah.
Star Wars. In the
Yeah.
film industry, there's tiers because there's background, there's specialty, there's stunts and cast. So they're on that. I would have killed to have been number 3,000, who was standing on the top of the hill, a little white dot, and the second action, he just goes and dies. I would have been happy.
Yeah, 100%.
But to circumvent all of that and to get on a principal cast list and to get on a stunt list and to work with some of the most talented people you can possibly imagine. I don't even know what to tell you. Like, you look at that 87 North group that we worked with on Obi-Wan Kenobi, or JJ Dashnaw's crew on Book of Boba Fett and Mando.
Yeah.
That talent is so insane that if you guys saw it, you wouldn't believe what you're looking at.
No, I trust you there.
There's just no way to validate what you're looking at, and they take it for. They don't even know how good they are. They know how good they are. That's why they're there. But compared to other people, I'm like, you guys are way up here. There's talented people, and then you guys are here. So when you watch it in person, you're blown away. And the only other group that I can compare to, outside of James Bond and all this other stuff, was the Avatar group, because the Avatar group brought in the best stunt guys that were available to do every specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then the guys that were responsible for like parkour or this or that or whatever it was, I was responsible for the archery, and then came back for the horse work on it when we were doing all the horse work for it. They were the best in the world. Everyone was at the top of the game in what they did. Period.
Yeah.
There wasn't another option above them. That was it. That archery was handed to me to handle. Well, guess what you're doing when you're standing in the Star Wars world and you're looking at guys, you're like, yeah, that Jedi kick looked real easy. And I'm like, and you go home and you try it yourself and you're like, oh yeah, I look like an idiot.
I'm like 295 pounds, so that Jedi cook didn't look easy to me. I'm always like, I'd have difficulty executing it.
Force choke. Force choke the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, it's that move. We were talking last night about the is it this where you choke them or this where you crush the windpipe?
Yeah.
I'll just perfect this and I'm good.
Yeah. Dude, even just so people understand, at one point I was working with the stormtroopers so hard and got them so tuned up that Deborah Chow came into me and she goes, they look CGI. We have to muddy them. I had to break their movements down. And then the way Darth Vader was walking, just the way he was walking, there was a coach, a body language coach there every minute to make sure that they got that down. The stunt sequences when Tom was doing the fighting, most people don't understand. He can't see below here. Imagine swinging at Ewan, who's down there, or Ross, his stunt double, Ewan's stunt double, who's down there fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And when you think of that, you have Hayden bringing this, and you have Ewan bringing this. Everyone else has got to live up to that. Everyone.
Yeah.
And you look at when you look at Boba Fett, you look at Fennec Shand. I mean, Chrysanthemum. You were bringing up Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum. I ran into him in the hallway, and I was the Klatooinian, and he walked Chrysanthemum. Of course, people are like, I heard there's a Chewbacca there, and of course, I can't say anything about it. And I hadn't seen it. I'm like, there's no Chewbacca there. I walked into this corridor, and I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, at that point, he just disappears. He's no longer Carrie. He's Chrysanthemum, bringing the best A game that you can, and you look at him, you're like, that thing is going to tear my arms out of its sockets.
Yeah.
You believe every. That's one thing that people don't understand about the Star Wars world is when you get in there, that art department, that wardrobe department, that set deck, all those guys building, they are putting in details that you don't know. It's just you light it up for a split second in the background. You go, oh my God, that world is real. That's why I was able to immerse in it. Legacy. Oh my God, you can't. Legacy with what they bring into the creature effects. When those Gamorreans, those are two good friends of mine, Frank Trigg and Colin Himes. When they went walking by, and I'm like, that's not Frank and Colin, that's Gamorreans. I mean, they look real. They were unbelievable. They walked by. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Jabba the Hutt's palace, and this shit is as real as it can possibly be. So there's something to be said about that world that Favreau, Filoni, of course, George Lucas, so forth, they put together. But then you walk into that world and you're like, man, I don't care how good I am. If you think you are good and you can't get better, you're in the wrong job.
Yeah.
You got to look at people that are above you and say, I got to elevate myself to that point. So that in itself stirs a lot of emotions, you know, when you're trying to get into those acting moments or those fight sequences, you know, those when you know, guys know that scene where the water collapses on us.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all real. There's
Oh, no
that's
shit.
Really?
That's 10 takes. That's 10 takes. And we got hit with 24 water cannons shooting at 80 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
That is, you know, what's
I-
my favorite part of this is hearing about all the scenes you were in. Because like, you know, we knew that we know that what you did, but like that's my favorite part is because I'm just like in those scenes again. And it is the most insane thing to hear that.
we shot that sequence, all of the approach. We run, we get it, the door slams. If you're looking at the screen, I'm the stormtrooper on the left in the window prying that door open.
Yep.
And they're pushing that door shut and you're prying it open. You know, it finally stuck my arm in there because I'm like, man, I don't want it to slam in there. And I'm like, well, that's real world. Slam in, and I'm looking at you and like, I'm going to kill him. If I get in there, I'm going to kill him because if I don't kill him, Darth Vader's killing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would go at it, and you don't screw around with people's eye lines when you're in that acting zone and you're in that world.
Yeah.
You don't screw around with people's eye lines. And we're sitting there trying to pry this door open, and Ewan is on the other side going, yeah. He's doing it. I'm like, all right. So we're prying and we're doing all this other stuff. We're joking back and forth. We're having a good time. It's go time, right?
Yeah.
Well, we knew we had to shoot the water sequence, and then we showed up. It was like 3:30. We got into our wardrobe and everything, our armor, about 6:30, and then we started shooting. I want to say around 8:30, 7:30, 8:30, something like that. It got dark because it was outside. The set was a solid steel corridor, solid steel. I was like, oh, how are you guys going to tear this thing down? Anyway, it was monster. When we saw all the water tanks, and my buddy Fong said, yeah, he goes, I tested it. He goes, it's a what we call a fart knocker. We're like, it's a because I tested it with a couple of cannons, and then we're looking. I'm like 12 on that side, 12 on this side, and just so you guys know, it takes an hour to reset between each take because they have to dry it, and they have to fill the water. So imagine how much water is emptying out that fast that it takes an hour to refill and dry and everything.
That's intense.
We wrapped at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh man!
Wow. So it was 3:30
hitting us. Just boom. There's shots. If you scrub the scene, you see me here and you see me get hit, and I'm gone. My feet are here.
Yeah,
that's nuts. That's nuts.
That's
so
insane.
The most beautiful, experiences. Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, and of course, I can't say anything about Skeleton Crew that in my career. And by the way, just to add in there, that's 3. I always tell everybody, I'm like, Book of Boba Fett, to work with Jamie and having one of the best makeup artists in the world doing my makeup, and then he lives like 3 miles down from me.
That's awesome.
That's nuts.
The prop master from Avatar was a prop master on Obi-Wan, and he lives like 3 miles down from me.
Hello there.
Yes.
all great guys, phenomenal guys. That's one of the biggest gifts in my life is to be able to work with Hayden and call him a friend, or Ewan and call him a friend, more than just working with them.
Yeah.
But you look at those sequences, and I always tell everybody, I'm like, Book of Boba Fett was 3 hours of the best makeup I've ever worn.
Mm-hmm.
And Avatar was some of the best makeup I never wore.
Fair enough.
That's one way to put it. I guess
there's merit in both. I think that's the best part about it.
Yes,
it's phenomenal. I show up on stage and I'm on a horse with the motion capture balls on us, and I'm looking on the monitor, and I'm in a suit and I'm waving, and there is a Na'vi waving back. I'm like,
that's so cool.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
It's just been some phenomenal gifts. It's a little bit outside of the Star Wars.
Yeah. No, we want to know about you, man. This is so cool.
This is about you, man. So, and honestly, man, hearing this story is just like all of these stories and just how you've been in this industry is insane, man. Like I we know what goes into it, but not the entirety of it. And just hearing this firsthand account of everything has been nothing short of phenomenal, just to tell you the truth.
And let me tell you something, for anybody who's watching out there, you got to be realistic with what you can do. Okay. If you have asthma and you can only hold your breath for 30 seconds, you shouldn't be a free diver. Okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. You're going to kill yourself. So if you take that away, any of those physical incapabilities that you might have, don't let people tell you can't do something, because when I first got into this business, they're like, you're not going to work with 8711. You're not going to work with the Dashnaws. You're not going to work with Tad Griffith or Garrett Warren. These are Jojo Eusebio. These are big coordinators, phenomenal coordinators. George Cottle, these guys. You're not going to be working with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm indebted to those guys. They're phenomenal human beings. They treated me like a human being, and they don't even know the roadblocks I had to get through to get there. But here's the crazy thing. The roadblock was never them.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was never them. I would message them and be like, hey, Garrett, is this for Avatar? He goes, yeah, sure. He goes, I go, I'll send you my speed test in a minute. I shot 5 arrows in 4.8 seconds for him. On a speed test. And he said, get over to my house now. JJ, I had never worked with JJ. I messaged him, no problem, Ardeshir. Put that in there for me. Jojo Eusebio, same thing. Tad Griffith, I was told, you're not going to work with Tad. I messaged him. He goes, why don't you come over to my house?
What is it? The squeaky wheel?
And I ended up, not even squeaky wheel. And then I ended up being Tad Griffith's assistant coordinator for years. And you look at it, and these people that are up here, they're up here for a reason. And part of it is their humanity. So, I called Garrett up, from Avatar, and I said, hey, Garrett, I go, my dad would love to meet you. He was like, great. Why don't we meet for breakfast? I'd love to buy him breakfast.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Amazing.
Other people who were standing around saying, you can't do this. You won't do this. You won't get there. I'm like, really? The story of my life has been, I can't get there and won't do this. And if I send you the pictures of everything that I was told I can't get there, I don't even believe it. I'm like, there's no way. Ardeshir did all this stuff. So one thing that I will tell you guys is, what did you watch when you saw Star Wars? Luke looking up, wishing he could be a pilot, being told he can't do it, and he ended up doing it, right? Right. Yeah. Anakin was supposed to be the chosen one. I mean, he fell off path, but then was ultimately redeemed, right? Getting to that point.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of people trying to push me off path. I had a lot of people in many different areas of my life that had tried to push me off path. Whether it was me playing polo or anything else. And you know what? And that's another way that Star Wars comes back and ties it into you. You say, hey, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you can get this thing done. All you got to do is have a little bit of faith. And by the way, without change, something sleeps in us, right? So that sleep was forced to awaken over and over again. And I get to walk around. I'm like, oh my God, man. Holy crap. I executed Order 66. I'm like, oh
I'm like, not only did you love Star Wars, you got to kill all the Jedi. I mean, that's
yeah, I'm like, wow. I'm like, so I've shaken hands with this person, that person, this person. I'm like, wow, this is an insanity that I feel like, a lot of times people, they don't believe my age, and I tell them, I go, that's because I never accepted the fact that I needed to grow up.
Hell yeah. That
I love
is,
that.
yes, 1000%.
If you believe you need to grow up, you're going to die quick, buddy. And I hate to tell you this. I'll challenge anybody. I'm as serious gets when the time comes to be serious.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it, I'm a complete clown. I like to joke. I like to have fun. I want to make sure everyone around me has a good time. I want to make sure that at least I'm a light energy. I know a coordinator is under stress. Leave them alone. But when you do talk to them, treat them respectfully, treat them nice so that they can enjoy being around you, because the rest of their job is so hard. It's so tough doing that stuff. And a chunk of that has to do with being that kid, knowing that, hey, to me, for this second, I am a stormtrooper. I get to play being stormtrooper, and thank you for this opportunity. So that joy you're giving me, I'll give back to you. And by the way, all you guys that said it can't be done, I know, I believe you. You can't do it. You can't do it, but there's other people that are doing it. I mean, this is as long as you're kind of realistic with yourself in that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, man, I gotta tell you, your enthusiasm and your positivity throughout our show today has been nothing short of intoxicating. Like, honestly, it's like 10 o'clock at night where I'm at right now, and I feel like I gotta go run a marathon or something like this.
I'm gonna start writing that book. But yeah, no, that's I already started. Don't worry. But
yes. But honestly, man, we have a great little thing that we still have to do on the show today. As all of our followers on Instagram are aware, we had a big giveaway, so we want to keep the positivity going, and we want to gift some of our followers some amazing pieces. Now, for those of you listening and watching, we were supposed to have Ardeshir and Dimitri Karas on at the same time. Dimitri did come into some technical difficulties. We will do his interview at a later time, but we are still going to give away his autographed memorabilia during this show here today. So now, what I'm going to do is, Ardeshir, I got your 2 pieces that we're going to give away. So I'll hold it up just so we know which one we're going to do. And then you can go ahead and announce our winner and maybe give him just a little hello or something like that. So
I'm announcing the winner?
Yes, I sent it to you earlier.
Did you?
Yeah, it's in our group chat.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good. Hold on, I could send it again.
You get to guess the name of the winner, and just whatever screen name you think's out.
Dimitri Karas won it.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars fan 420. You are the winner.
Yeah.
I will send it again because I did the little spin. I did the little spin wheel thing on my computer earlier, so it was like all completely randomized.
Okay.
So yep. So the first one that we have for the giveaway is the 501st Archive Black Series, autographed by yourself. There, we got the lovely Execute Order 66 on there. And who is our winner for that?
I believe that is Princess Revenus.
Excellent. Yes. And congratulations on winning this. So we will get in touch with you once the podcast is posted up for this amazing piece from our boy here. And the other piece from yourself, which this thing looks amazing. Honestly, I want this one for myself, but it is the autographed picture of yourself in the clone armor. This looks ridiculously good, honestly. So
you get the old DC rifle there too, which I love.
Yes,
I have it back there.
Do you?
That might be the coolest thing, actually. That might actually be the coolest thing. But who is our winner for this photo right here?
Mr. Sabos.
Excellent. And congratulations to you 2 guys for our winners from Ardeshir today. Like I said, we will be getting in touch with you guys for these pieces once the show gets posted and everything like that. Now, for those of you who were entered during this contest, like I said, we are going to announce Dimitri's as well. So, and I have his right here. So the winner for Dimitri's, the first one we got is his autographed Tusken Raider right here. Got his nice little thing done up. It's a little hard to see because it's in gold, but it looks great. And that is at I am Gianni V. I actually know him. Congratulations, man. He was on a previous show of ours a couple weeks back.
This is random, everybody. This is
It
random.
actually, it is actually random.
We don't reward you with anything but a wink and a thank you.
Yes. But we also got one more piece, and that is this right here. It is Dimitri's Night Trooper autograph photo, and that one is going to Mac 1L. I think it's supposed to be Macklemore 101 is what it looks like. So, but once again, guys, congratulations on those on winning those amazing pieces from our friends here. We are going to be having Dimitri on at a later time, but we thankfully had Ardeshir on to give these away with us and everything like that,
and also give us some of the best stories I think I've ever heard in my entire life. So
yeah, this has arguably been the coolest hour of my life. This has arguably been one of the coolest things ever, and let's just be honest, guys. None of this would have been possible without our friend Mark to kind of bring us all together like this.
Mark Wallace,
yes,
thank you, Mark.
Yes, he is honestly, Mark. If you're watching this, we can't thank you enough, man. We love and appreciate everything that you've done, bringing us to the Star Wars family together like this. So, but that being said, I think that kind of does wrap us up for today's show and everything like that. So for all you guys watching and listening, we want to thank you guys for stopping in today. You can check us out on Instagram at Sith Happens _ Star Wars podcast. And on there, it's got the link tree to our YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Music account where you can follow us on all those platforms. And we really want to thank Ardeshir for coming in and hanging out with us today and just giving us, as we said already, the greatest hour of Star Wars stories in my life. But Ardeshir, do you just want to say any final words for any of the folks watching or listening out there today?
I do. Guys. Hey guys, just on a serious note, it's bigger than Star Wars, okay?
Yes.
It should just be a vehicle that gives you joy and a love of life, in my opinion, hope, right? Even though I'm Imperial side, even though I'm Sith side, all of it's about hope. It's a little bit about like making your dreams come true. Even if you aren't able to get into a movie, which is almost impossible, that's not what it's about. I consider myself very lucky. Just go try to make somebody else's dream come true. That's one of the reasons why I'm a member of the 501st. Most of the people don't even know they're talking to a cast member. I put my helmet on. I just want another kid to just enjoy what I enjoy. They don't know who I am. They don't know what I'm doing. You just go and you visit a kid or somebody that, has an ailment or maybe an unfortunate moment in their life, or maybe you're just trying to bring joy to some people that are working really hard. Just use whatever positive energy that you get, and you should be getting positive energy out of it. And just go do something good. Pay it forward. Do something good for, somebody else out there. I mean, that's really what, Star Wars is about. I don't think I would have gotten to where I have gotten if I wasn't paying it forward. I believe that I paid it forward and forward and forward. And somebody said, man, that wheel squeaks a lot.
Yeah.
They heard paying it forward, not just pick me. You never just do good. And believe me, that good is going to come back to you. You know what I mean? So we say the light and the dark side of the Force. In the actual Magi philosophy, it's the happy mind and the angry mind. We actually get the word angry from it. Angra menu. Menu is mind. That's the old Zoroastrian word for it. Angra menu and spanta menu. It's a happy mind. Put yourself in that happy place. You know what I mean? And do right by other people. Do right by your family. Do right by your friends. Do right by everybody else. And you'll see little by little, that will spread, and it will spread, and it will spread. And then it'll come back and do right by you. So that's just my little, piece to everybody else.
Thank you.
And that's really is a hell of a way to end it on today, man. Well put, beautifully said. So, yes. And Matty, my boy, you got any final words? I know that's a hard one to follow up on.
Yeah, I had something. I'm just gonna do it. I had something funny to say. Like one of my favorite things was you saying you got on set and you saw Obi-Wan, and sometimes Ewan would come out. If anybody other than, first of all, the thing you should take away is some of the tremendously inspiring things that were said tonight, but also in the back of your mind, Obi-Wan Kenobi does a phenomenal Ewan McGregor impression. That's what I got out of that.
It's almost like
I told him that, by the way. I told him, I said, Ewan, they could have searched 1,000 years and 1,000 galaxies and not found a better Obi-Wan.
That is so true.
So
it's bottom of my heart. Ardeshir, thank you so much for coming on, and may the Force be with you and everyone. Always.
And with you guys. You guys are going to have fun with Dimitri. He's a good friend of mine.
Very excited.
Yes. Yeah. And then from myself as well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been, as I said already, absolute pleasure to have you on. Your stories have been fantastic. And then your outlook and positivity on everything is absolutely intoxicating. And you really have just, I hope, impacted somebody else today, which I do think you will. Well, just one person. That's all it takes. So
might have been me. So yeah.
Yes. But to all of our viewers out there, thank you again for stopping by. I am Eric the Dadalorian, and this is The Way.